Okay, here we go. We're talking about completing the square. There, I've completed the square. That's all you need to know for today. Now, actually, completing the square is a process of creating a perfect square. Like, for instance, this one, x squared plus 6, oops, my marker stopped, 6x plus 9. There we go. That's a perfect square. Why is that a perfect square? Because when I factor it, it factors down to x and plus and 3 and 3. What's perfect about that? Well, because you can put it together, x plus 3 quantity squared. And what's that? That's vertex form. This was general form, and that's vertex form. Can you do that with every quadratic? No, because they don't all have perfect numbers that happen to work out nice. But this one does. All right, I'll give you another one, and let's see if you can start figuring out a common theme about all these perfect squares. They are a function, yes. They're a quadratic function. They are, okay, hold on, let me get you another one here. Let's go with x squared plus 10x plus 25. That'll factor perfectly. You know what it's going to be? X plus 5, x plus 5. Oh, it's a good question. X minus 5 sort of works, but it doesn't really work. Because the middle term would be negative. All right, but we will do one like that. All I'd have to do is change this to a minus. And then it would, yours would have worked. Okay. All right, moving on. I'll go back to just positive ones for right now because I don't think you're ready for that yet. You can't handle the negatives. Plus, let's go with 20x plus. Can you finish it for me? Not 100. Oh, wait. Yes, it is 100. You're right. Sorry. Because why? Because when I go x and plus, I got to use a 10 and a 10 to make the 20. Have you figured out a theme here? All right. A little German boy tells you the answer. Yes. Have you noticed that in all the movies, the Germans are always the bad guys? I don't know what it is, but...
Oh, I know. I know why.
Yes.
Because when you learn the language, you always think they're yelling.
It isn't necessarily a beautiful language. You're right. It's not considered a romance language like parlez-vous français. It's more like ach, and I actually can speak some German. It's like doch. Doch means like of course, and ausgezeichnet. See, it seems like I'm yelling, but I'm just saying that's awesome. Because ausgezeichnet means awesome. Or
How can you tell that?
how can you tell? It all depends on what they're saying, I suppose, whether or not they're yelling at you. All right, so anyway, the little German boy's name is HAHonors. HAHonors. Oh, somebody gets it. What am I saying? You take half of this and you square it. That's right. You take half of this and then you square it. Half of 20 is 10, 10 squared is 100. You take half of this and you square it. Half of 6 is 3, 3 squared is 9. All right, so I could start any problem, in fact. It'd be really nice if it was an even number so it's split evenly. But let's go with like 8x. And then what would the next number have to be? Half of 8 is 4, 4 squared is 16. And then it would factor nice. Now we'll get into those negatives. What if I change it to that? Do I still do half and square? Yes, I do. The half of negative 8 is negative 4, and then I square it, it's still positive 16. But what's different about the answer is instead of x and plus, it's what? Minus and minus, and it's 4 and 4, and it still will work now, because the outside and the inside will make negative 8x. You get that? So, let's try another one. Let's say I had x squared minus 14x plus 12. Does that work? No. Wouldn't it be nice if I could just move the 12 aside and say, I'm going to put in a box here and put in the number that I want to be there. Okay? And I'm put the plus 12 over here just to remember what it was. Well, that's what you do. You make up the number that you want to go here. And half and square tells you to put in what? 49. And then, since I added 49, I got to kind of fix that. I got to compensate for that by subtracting 49. That cancels it out. Because if you add 49, subtract 49, it's like nothing ever happened. Then, this part here is your perfect square, just like you wanted it to be. X and minus and minus and 7 and 7. And then this part here just gets added together and put there. Negative 49 plus 12 is negative 37. So this guy's vertex is, I'm going to write it with a y, so it's an equation. X minus 7 squared minus 37. So it would be 7 comma negative 37. All right, let's do some. On your paper, write this one down. Y equals x squared plus 2x plus 9. It does not work the way it is. Write that down. Underneath it, I need you to learn a process here. I know that some of you think, well, I can kind of do this just in my head, and that's fine until they get hard, and they will get hard. And you'll need the process because it's going to get complicated in a minute. So learn this. What did I just do there? I put in 2 boxes. The one will undo the other. And if I just do 2 plus boxes, that actually is going to double my problem. But I do 1 plus box and then a minus box to undo it. So this is exactly the same as what I had before. Right here and right here, that's all this stuff. It's exactly the same. I just threw in 2 boxes. Plus box, minus box. All right, now, into the boxes, I should put half and square. Half of this and square it is 1, which is kind of weird, but it's true. And then a 1 here to cancel that out. Then this part right here is your perfect square. Y equals x plus 1, x plus 1. And then this part here makes 8. And you may skip over this step right here if you want to. You can just jump right to this answer once you get good at these. Squared plus 8. That way you have vertex form just a little faster. Final answer, what's the vertex? Negative 1 comma 8. Don't make me come back there. I will beat you a strudel. Okay. Here we go. Next one. Y equals x squared minus 10x plus 1. Write that down. Then squeeze in a plus box, minus box right here. X squared minus 10x plus a box, minus 1. No, plus 1, sorry. Just squeeze in a plus box, minus box, then half and square. Half of negative 10 is negative 5. Square it is 25. 25. You know, in your language classes, you learn these little sayings, like instead of just like learning a word, you learn like words that go together, like little phrases. In my Spanish or in my German class a long time ago, there were these little phrases, and it's just the dumbest thing. Now I remember, gleich die Ecke means right around the corner. It's like one of the few things I remember in German. So if I'm ever in Germany, I'm just going to hope that there's lots of things that are right around the corner, because that's all I can pretty much say. There's a few others. Let me think. Das ist eine Schnitzelbank. And I think that means that is a meat factory, but I'm not sure exactly what that means. Ist das nicht ein Schnitzelbank? Ja, das ist ein Schnitzelbank. I'm guessing there are similar phrases in Spanish, yes? What are some phrases that you learn in Spanish? What does that mean? A donkey knows more than you. Good thing to learn in case you ever want to insult the drug lord down there and get yourself killed. Okay. Here we go. This one breaks into x minus 5 and x plus 5. No, wait, I can't do that. That's not a perfect squared. See, it has to be minus and minus. They have to both be the same. and then minus 24. Final answer, I could have skipped that step and just gone right to this. X minus 5 squared minus 24. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. Then, if you're not getting this yet, you will get it after we do a few more trials here. I'm going to just add a couple more in here. Y equals x squared plus, this is a bigger number, but you can still handle it, plus 7. Try putting in your plus box, minus box thing. Hopefully you can square 20. 20 times 20. You can do it. 400. Very good. So y equals. First thing you do, put in plus box, minus box. Learn a system. Because it's going to get more complicated. Because what happens when they don't split in half nice? I'll show you in a second. Half of 40 is 20. 20 squared is 400. Minus 400. Parentheses. X plus. And then if I want to jump right to the ending, I just got to remember that there's two things that are identical. So I say squared. And this would be the square root of 400, which is 20. Because see, 20 times 20 will make 400. On that, and then at the end here, it's negative 393. Okay, good. So now, what happens? What? Push. Okay, what happens when it isn't so nice anymore? A little HAHonors square is still right. You still had take half of it and square it, but it's just you're going to want to do a decimal. You're going to want to say what's half of 3, and you're going to say 1.5, but don't. Say 3 over 2. You know why? Because that squares really nicely. Plus box, minus box. Still do the same stuff. Okay, so everybody write this one down with the plus box, minus box thing. And then, instead, though, of saying 1.5 and then squaring it, which is like, what's 1.5 times 1.5? Instead, go like this. What's half of 3? 3 over 2. And then I'm supposed to square it, right? Just go like this and put a little squared. And we're okay with you leaving it like that. Because otherwise you're just going to go get your calculator and type in 1.5 plus 1.5 and get 2.5. Then, hold on. Feedback issues. My phone must have just decided to try to go get data. I will kill it now. Okay, there. Okay. So, if you wanted to know what to put in this box over here, you have two choices. You could either put 3 over 2 quantity squared again, like this, that's fine. Or you could have said, what's 3 over 2 squared? It's 9 over 4. You just square both parts, get it? I think it's actually a little easier to just do that because it's less parentheses and the squaring thing. If you just square them in your head quick, just write that down. All right, now, when you do this next part with the fraction thing, it's imperative that you remember what I said about how it's the square root of this that goes here. So what is the square root of 3 halves squared? It's 3 halves. See, that's why it's nice to not turn it into 9/4 there, because then you'd have to unsquare it to put it here. If I write it as 3 halves square, I got it right there. Then, last thing I got to add is, let's see, 9/4 is really 2 1/4. So if I have a negative 2 1/4 and a positive 12, that makes like, it's sort of like 10 minus 1/4, which would be 9 3/4. 9 3/4, yes. All right. All right, so would you try this one and see if you can handle this? Use the little fraction technique I showed you. Y equals x squared plus 7x minus 1. Try it. First do plus box, minus box. You always do that. Then, HAHonors square, come and get your pudding. 7 over 2 squared. 14 over 4. What do little German kids eat? Okay, so this is x plus, uh-oh, my marker not working, plus 7 over 2. See how if I leave it as 7 over 2 squared, I know it's 7 over 2 right there, which makes it a lot easier. And then this part, I do have to like interpret quick. That's 4 times 3 would be 12, so that'd be 3 and 2/4, or 3 1/2. See how you have to be able to be facile with that? Oh, it's not 14, it's 49. Sorry. Okay, then 49/4. Ooh, that's kind of ugly. 11 would be 44. 12 would be 48. Negative 12 1/4 minus 1. And that makes negative 13 1/4. There we go. See how they can get ugly? And they can get even uglier. But for today, that's as ugly as we're going to get. All right. So I'm going to do the first couple off your worksheet with you. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. All right, numbers 1 and 2 are very, very simple. I don't even want to help you with those. But I do want to help you with number 3. Here we go. 3. Okay. Here we go. X squared minus 6x plus 5. Y equals x squared minus 6x plus 5. You do the little plus box minus box thing. You have to do that? Yes, you do. Because it's going to get complicated tomorrow or Monday. Some people compromise and do lines, like an empty, like a line and a line, but I even call this thing vertex boxes. So I'd prefer it if you'd stick with a box. It's really not that hard to do. All right, the vertex boxes here are filled with half and square. Half of negative 6 is negative 3 squared is 9 and 9. So we start you off with a nice easy one, no fractions needed. Y equals, and you can just jump right to the ending here. Instead of making 2 sets of parentheses, you can say squared. And then be careful on this. Is it plus or minus?
Minus.
Minus 3. And then it's this and this together, which makes minus 4. So what is the vertex on this thing? 3 comma negative 4. So when you graph it, see the graph underneath there? Go down, find the spot 3 comma negative 4, put a dot there, and once you found 3 comma negative 4, you go over 1 and up 1. Got to remember this little pattern. We're going to be doing it all next year in pre-calc 2. Over 2 and up 4. Over 2, up 4. Over 3 and up 9 if it fits on the graph. Yep, good enough after that. All right, so you want about absolute minimum these points, these 5 points. But if you want to go a little farther and do the last couple and be an overachiever, it's great. Isn't necessary. Okay, so that's how you do these. You have the rest of the time, which you will probably finish this puppy up in class. It's really not too hard. Monday is where it gets more challenging. So we got to get you good at the easy ones first.